Hello, my name is Boyce Fitzgerald, and today we're going to look at the comparison of two different drones. See which one might be right for you if you only want one drone. One is the Skydio-2, which is a great product, and the other one is the Mavic Air 2, also a great product. We're going to compare these two drones. This video was requested by a guy named Bart who watched some of my drone videos and wanted to know which drone he should buy. And today we're going to answer that question. Skydio 2 is a really good drone. It's a US company based in California, and you can buy these. There used to be a long waiting list, but now there's not such a long waiting list, and you can buy these drones now. It's an amazing drone, and it's known for its autonomy. This is the perfect drone for somebody who wants to be a solo creator. In other words, you can't be riding your dirt bike or your four-wheeler and at the same time filming yourself, running the controllers. With this drone, you don't have to do that. You don't even have to use a controller. You can fly this with your smartphone. You can also fly this with a beacon. And the best combination when you're doing something like that is to fly it with the beacon and your smartphone connected. So you can fly this drone, and there's some video that we can show right here of me bicycling. There's no one else with me. I launched the drone up, had it lock onto me, and then I put my phone in my pocket and took off down the path. And you can see that it follows me perfectly, even going in and out of trees. So if you're a solo creator, or if you're somebody who does a lot of outdoor activities and wants to be able to film yourself, and you don't have another set of hands to do that for you, this is the perfect drone for you. One of the things I like best about this drone is the cable mode. You can select a point A, select a point B, and it will fly smoothly between point A and B, plus focus on whatever you wanted to focus on. Or you can just have your gimbal pointed at a certain direction, have it change altitudes, change direction, and have it keep pointing in that same exact direction. It's great for cinematic moves. Some people say that the Skydio is not good for cinematic video, and when you're using the cable mode, it's very good at cinematic video. And all of these shots that I'm showing you right here were captured using the cable mode or along with the controller. The video out of the camera with the Skydio 2 is very crisp, and it's usable right out of the camera. You don't have to edit it. You don't have to color grade it. You don't have to change it in any way because it looks good right out of the camera. The thing, of course, that the Skydio is known for the most is obstacle avoidance. You can fly this in a lot of places that other drones can't fly, or maybe you don't feel comfortable flying. I've flown this very close to cliff sides to do a reveal shot of the road or the landscape down below. I've flown this under bridges. I've flown this between branches and between trees. It's a very good drone for obstacle avoidance. That's what it's known for. The problem that you might have with the Skydio 2 is getting used to trusting it. When you put it up, it's going to prioritize what it wants to do. Its first priority is to avoid obstacles. So if you want it to go forward or down or below, it may not take a nice smooth direction to that. It may avoid getting close to different obstacles in order to do that. That can be a good thing, but it takes away from the cinematography of it. Maybe you do want it to fly a little bit closer. It's not going to. It's not going to allow you to fly closer than it wants to go. Now that could be good or bad. The other thing is that if you're not moving very fast, suppose you just want to walk slowly through a forest path and do a very cinematic view of you walking forward. This bird will always be moving. It's always going to try to anticipate where you're going to move. And so it'll move around in the sky even when you're holding it, when you don't want it to move. Would you put it up and just said, follow me from there? It's going to move around. So what I have to avoid this, what I do is have it do some type of maneuver. If you're moving slow, you don't want it moving around. It just makes the footage look jittery. But put it into an orbit mode or into a cable mode, some other thing where it has movement while it's following you, then it's nice and smooth. So that's one way you can. One problem that I've had with this drone is learning to trust it. And then once I learned to trust it, to not over trust it. That may sound like a contradiction, but at first it does things that you don't necessarily want it to do, and yet it didn't crash. And so you start to think, well, this thing is impervious. It's always going to be able to fly. It cannot detect everything, and it cannot detect things in every condition. It won't detect wires, for example, that are under, I believe it's 1/4 of an inch, and the same thing with tree branches. So if you get it too close in the winter when there's no leaves on the trees, or if there's wires in the area, it will crash. The Skydio has 3 cameras on each side of it, on the top side and on the bottom side. It also has 3 cameras, one up here, one down here, one down here. Those cameras use visual indicators to avoid obstacles. They can't always see everything, and sometimes they see stuff that's not there. If there's still water and the sky is reflecting off the water, the Skydio might believe that that water is actually sky, and it may try to go into the water. You can minimize this by keeping the height restriction on. It's got a button that you can select that will make sure that it stays 10 feet off the ground, and if you select that, you're less likely to crash in the water. Also, if the sun is low on the horizon and shining into those cameras, then it may not be able to see things as well as it should. So what I'm saying is that you have to learn to trust it, but you have to be careful that you don't trust it so much that it's going to do everything that you think it might do. It sometimes is not going to see things. So I'm very careful about when and how I fly it. When I do fly it, when the conditions are right, and I need another set of hands, this is an excellent drone. So if you're a solo creator or an outdoorsman who does all kinds of activities, biking and four-wheeling and skiing and snowmobiling, water skiing, surfing, all those types of things, I think this is going to be a drone that you're going to be very happy with. Another thing about this Skydio 2 is that because of the camera and its sensors, it can't see things if the light is low or if it's foggy. So you cannot fly this in low light, you can't fly it at night, and you can't fly it in types of weather that might obscure the cameras. If anything gets on these cameras, then it's going to act erratic. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Mavic Air 2. This is an all-around amazing drone. It has excellent video. It's got different log profiles so that you can grade it if you want to match other footage that you might be filming. This is very helpful to me. It's not as baked in colors as the Skydio has. Although I think the Skydio footage is beautiful, sometimes I want to change it a little bit, and it's not always pliable to those changes. This footage is very changeable. This drone has obstacle avoidance in the front and in the rear, and also down below. It does not have it from side to side. If you want to do those type of tracking modes that the Skydio has, you're not going to be able to do it with this drone. This drone can follow you in open area. It's best if it follows you from behind, whereas the Skydio can really follow you from front, from behind, from the side. It can circle you while you're following. It can do, and those shots, by the way, look the best. Those are the times when the Skydio really shines. This drone won't do that, but this drone does everything else that you might want to do. If you're into photography more than videography, this drone is better for you. You can take up to a 48 megapixel picture, for example. The regular picture mode is 12 pixels for this. The same with the Skydio, it's 12 pixels. But this has a sensor that can split each one of those pixels up into 4 pixels and do a 48 megapixel picture. To do that, you have to have very good light. But when you do it, it's beautiful, it's crystal clear. So if you're perhaps want to do something with real estate and you're using pictures or just pictures, you're a photographer, a wedding photographer, some type of photographer that uses pictures now and then with your drone, I would not get the Skydio, I would get the Mavic Air 2. Also, another thing about the Mavic Air 2 is the range. The range on the Mavic Air 2 is farther than I will ever need. I can't see it as far as I can safely fly it. I've never lost contact with it. The OcuSync syncs with it every time. It's a beautiful signal. I've never had bad signal quality, and I've gone out as far as I can visibly see it. But the Skydio 2 controller does not have much range. It'll drop on and drop off sometimes, and that can be alarming sometimes. It's not that big a deal. The controller is not as bad as some people say with the Skydio 2. It is plasticky and toy-like feeling. It would be nice if Skydio came up with their own in-house controller. If you want to read all about the Skydio controller, I'm sure you can find a video on that. But suffice it to say that it's not nearly as nice as the controller for the Mavic. And the range is nothing like the control. The range on the Skydio is nowhere near the range of the Mavic Air 2 or any of the other DJI drones. This is very responsive to the controller. The controller is very nice to handle. Some people don't like the bigger controller that the Mavic Air 2 uses. They think it's too big and brick-like. I found it to be perfect for me. I like the way it handles. I like the way the phone sits up on top into these holders. It's nice and secure. You can take the control pins out of the bottom of it and screw them on top so that this could go right into a backpack. Both of these drones are very portable. You have no problem taking them on a trip, putting them in any type of backpack, putting them on an airplane, no problems at all with either one of them. The low light on the Skydio 2, I have never tested. The reason I have never tested it is because I won't fly it even in low light. You can't fly it at night at all. It won't even take off. So I've not tested it. I don't really care what it is because that's not what that drone is for. You can fly the Mavic Air 2 at night. I've taken a number of night videos. The night video looks beautiful. It looks clean. The Mavic Air 2 has a 1/2-inch sensor, which is larger than your most smartphone sensors and some compact camera sensors. It's not as big as an inch sensor or Micro Four Thirds, but it's big enough that the low light performance is not bad, especially if you use the log profile and you fly slowly and you have some ambient light in the area. This is the controller for the Skydio 2. It does not come with this case. I bought that online later. But this is the controller. It's the same as the Parrot controller. It is the Parrot controller. They've just reused it, reprogrammed it to use with Skydio. It's very plasticky. This is what it's like when you open it. You put the phone up in this part. It does not hold the phone very well. I've had my phone flop out of it a number of times. That's not such a big deal. One thing I do like about it are these paddles on the back where you can adjust the gimbal up or down. To me, that's a lot better than a wheel. Whenever I turn the wheel on a DJI product, I'm not sure which direction I'm turning the gimbal. And I usually have to do that shot again because I almost always will turn the gimbal in the wrong way. I keep this in this zippered case and it goes well. Comes shipped with this case. You can also do a landing on the case, so it's nice to have as a landing pad if you're on uneven ground. It's very thin, and the Skydio and the batteries go in here. As you can see, it's slim. The way I carry that in my backpack, it's got two hooks on it here, so you could just put a sling on it and carry that over like a messenger bag over your shoulder. The way I like to do it, in a lot of my videos you see I'm wearing a backpack, and that's because I've got the case in my computer compartment of the backpack. I don't have a special backpack for either one of these. If you buy the Mavic Air 2 with the Fly More combo case, it comes with a shoulder bag that's also very compact and small. The Mavic Air 2 folds up. This is not a review, by the way, on both of these products. It's more of a comparison so that you know which one to buy. So you can fold this up till it's basically the size of a brick, although much lighter. This goes in the case, the batteries go in the case, so you have a small case that can also fit in a backpack or just go over your shoulder. Altogether, both of these products are very portable. The thing I like about the Mavic Air 2 most of all is it's just dependable. It works. You plug it in, it starts right up. You turn it on, it immediately acquires satellites and it goes. The Skydio 2 is a little bit more glitchy. Sometimes it won't connect to my phone. Sometimes it won't connect to the beacon. Sometimes it'll generally do those things, but it'll take a little while. It takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of determination sometimes just to get it to do some of the basic things. I think these things will improve over time. Skydio 2, by the way, has issued a number of updates. The updates always make it better. There's another thing that the Mavic Air 2 does that is one of my favorite things to do that is better than any drone I've owned, and that's doing aerial hyperlapses. You can do these on the Skydio, but let me tell you, it's just not worth doing. What you can do to the Skydio is do that cable mode I was talking about. You lock in point A, you lock in point B, you have it take a picture every 2 seconds, and it will take a picture every 2 seconds, and then you put those into a hyperlapse. However, because the range is so limited and because it moves around more on its own, that hyperlapse is just not going to look smooth. Hyperlapses with the Mavic Air 2 are beautiful. I'm a stock video creator. People like to buy hyperlapses. Because of that, my Mavic Air 2 has paid for itself. I've done a lot of stock footage video shoots with the Skydio 2, and some of them have sold, but they don't sell as much simply because of the type of content and maybe because I don't have as much. I just have a lot more quality, a lot more quantity with the Mavic Air 2, and it has paid for itself. But the hyperlapses are the things that sell the most. They're beautiful. I can do a video on how to do those one time. It can do 1080p hyperlapses, it can do 4K hyperlapses, and it can do 8K hyperlapses. The 8K hyperlapses are not worth doing. I wouldn't even try them. I don't know why you need an 8K hyperlapse anyway. So I think it's easy to make the choice. If you just want to have one drone, the Skydio 2 is for that outdoor solo creator. The Mavic 2 is more for somebody who wants control, cinematic ability to do hyperlapses, and the ability to fly in any conditions just about. Then you want the Mavic Air 2. Battery life, I get about 18 minutes of flight on the Skydio 2, sometimes 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a minimum that I get on the Mavic Air 2. It often goes 25, 26, 27 minutes. It depends on what I'm doing and the weather conditions and stuff. So that extra battery time can make a big difference. Another difference in the two is the price. The Skydio 2 is $1,000. Which with $1,000 you can get the Fly More combo and you can get the replacement package with the Mavic Air 2. That means if you wreck it, they're going to replace it for a minimal amount, and that works for up to a year. Okay, I think that about wraps everything up. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me any comments or any requests for future videos, and I appreciate you visiting the channel.